Recently, I was talking to a client and he told me, I love the airlines. I love finding out about airlines. And I'm at the job that I dreamt of. But I don't know why I'm not happy. Maybe my passion doesn't balance out with the rest of the things that make me happy, like my colleagues or the culture. And as he said that, it struck me. Maybe passion doesn't make you happy. Today, if you are chasing passion, let me offer you a premise that knowing your passion is good, but not knowing it is also okay. Well, why is that so? Today, the first reason why is because passion is variable. Passion is based on an emotion. Today, if you feel red hot with passion when you go into work, that's really great. But if you don't, then what happens? For all the Steve Jobs advice on follow a heart and then you will find joy. Well, the truth is that Steve Jobs also went through really painful moments in his life where he was sacked from Apple, the company he founded. I mean, how do you even get sacked from your own company, right? Where he went through the battle with pancreatic cancer, where he struggled with critics who said that Apple would never succeed. Well, if you hear about these stories of failure, they were really painful moments. But at each point, Steve Jobs did not decide to quit. Today, if you are depending on your passion, there are going to be times when your emotion is going to be very bad, where you feel like you want to give up, where you feel like you shouldn't be doing this anymore. There is a choice for you at that moment. You can decide to quit or you can decide to push on. In Angela Duckworth's book, Grit, she talks about a skill against time graph. And in it, there are three different curves. The first curve is the arrested development, where people pursue a skill and then end up giving up. That's when their skill plateaus. Then there are those who drop out after a certain period of time. Then there are those who go into world-class development. And Angela Duckworth found that one of those factors was deliberate practice, where they intentionally push themselves out of their comfort zone. Today, if you are depending solely on passion to feel good about what you do, there are going to be days where, as you practice your skill, it's going to be painful. That's natural because skill growth is difficult. Skill growth is difficult. And then what happens? You stick through it rather than walking out of it. So today, depending on your passion might make you happy in the short run, but it does not make you happy in the longer run. And that's why not knowing your passion is okay, because at the end of the day, it's about depending not just on your emotion, but depending on deliberate practice and anchoring yourself on skill. The second reason why depending on passion and finding out your passion is not necessary is because passion takes time and uncertainty. Think of it as a virtuous cycle with passion on one end and then your skill on the other end. It's important to start with passion. And when I was talking to my friend recently who started training in theater, he told me that he started with passion. But as he learned more and more about the thing, that helped him to find the grit, to stick through the painful process of improving his skill. And as his skill improved, that fed back into his interest and passion, where he wanted to find out more. And this becomes a virtuous cycle. But the thing about this is that this takes time and uncertainty. But in today's world, we are taught to trade the long game for the short game. Today, we are given instant gratifications through likes, comments, validation, and everything that we want through posts, moments that are beautifully created on our newsfeed. And social media bubbles that feed us what we want in the communities that we enjoy, and everything becomes about me, myself, and I. Today, you might be used to not having things that don't work out for you. After all, when you open up your social media feed, everything is specially curated for you. But the world of passionate and purposeful work is not like that. It takes time and uncertainty. And today, not knowing your passion is okay, because at the end of the day, you depend on developing your wider skills. And this takes deep time and deep uncertainty. It takes deep practice and deep work. It's not about just knowing your passion. Lastly, knowing your passion is not necessary, because at the end of the day, you can do work without passion. You might have this mistaken impression that if I know my passion, I'll be skipping to work each day. Well, that might be the case, but that also might not be the case. When you wake up at your bed each day, you're not going to know like how you're going to feel, what you're going to do. Each moment of our life is lived in the here and now. We are filled with deep uncertainty over what will happen for the rest of the day, isn't it? But if you're going to depend on something variable like passion, you're setting yourself immediately up to fail. And that is dangerous. That is hugely dangerous. In the Navy SEALs in the US, they have a saying: you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to your level of training. Similarly, if you look at your work today, if you look at the greatest producers, they wake up to like you. They might have days when they don't want to work, but they still produce consistent quality day after day. And for all of us, doing work without passion is okay, because you can't expect to jazz into work each day, really passionate about what you do, really interested and really tuned in. But the point where you become truly great is when you are able to consistently crank out and produce, even though you're not feeling inspired in the moment, you're not feeling great at the moment, even though something has happened at home, you're still able to produce at a great quality. And that involves skill, habits. So today, you're going to do all right if you don't know your passion. Why? Because of these three reasons. Because doing great work without passion is going to happen. It can happen. Secondly, passion takes time and uncertainty. We need to develop both skill and passion. Lastly, passion is variable, and therefore, depending on it as an emotion is bound to set us up for failure. In closing, I want to share a story. 3 days ago, I was given an assignment to develop a training plan for students. And by all accounts, this was what I had been training 5 years for. This was a job application, and I was so excited for it. For years, I had been excited by the prospect of standing in front of people, talking to them, and bringing them to the next level in their skill development. But as I sat down to develop that training plan, I was really anxious. I found performance anxiety deep within me, and it felt like I couldn't crank out anything. I sat at the table for 2 hours trying to think of the perfect plan. But eventually I let go because I realized that I could just write out a shitty first draft, I said by Brene Brown, and then iterate and change from there. You see, today, if I had depended on my passion, if I had waited for emotion to strike me, inspiration to lift me up, and to wait for that moment of pure genius where I could produce a training plan that would inspire millions, I would probably still be waiting at that table. But I fell back to the level of skill in trusting that just writing it out, just creating, just producing, and just depending on my skills of teaching, I would be able to do something meaningful. And so today, I hope that's you as well. Not knowing your passion is okay. Depending on skill as an anchor is far more important. So today, what is holding you back from developing your skill rather than developing your passion? Let me know in the comments below, and I would love to hear from you more.